Good morning, everyone. It's Kim here with Winey Women doing our next segment in marketing your winery, and we're going to be talking about Twitter today. Twitter is one of those really cool tools that limits you to 140 characters, unless you have it post from your Facebook, and then it does all the little truncation that it needs to do. But it's a great tool to quickly get information out, and it doesn't have to be long because you can only have 140 characters. But the cool thing about Twitter is that there are a lot of people on it, and if you're not on it, I would recommend you getting an account. The nice thing about Twitter is that you don't have to follow everybody that's following you. So it's not like Facebook where you friend people that ask you to be a friend. It kind of resembles your business Facebook page where people can like you, but you don't need to necessarily like them. So that's what I like about Twitter, because in the very beginning with Twitter, I became so overwhelmed because I followed everybody that followed me, except of course the pole dancers. That's kind of funny. But anyway, a lot of people will just start following you because they have keywords set that when you say certain things, they have keywords set that alerts them, and then they can come follow you. So my recommendation to you for Twitter is that you do not follow everybody that's following you. When someone does follow you on Twitter, I would recommend you go look at their profile and see if it's something of interest. Now, if you're a winery, the people that you should follow are people that will talk about you, like bloggers, wine critics, those type of people. Those are good people to follow because you want to know when someone says something about you, and those are the people that will most likely talk about you, other than, your regular consumers. But I wouldn't necessarily follow all of my consumers. So that's just some tips on who you should follow on Facebook. My followers, I follow more than are following me, and the reason is because I follow people that will deliver me relevant content or that I like to hear from. So in most cases, that'll be the case with you. But I wanted to give you some information on Twitter. So if you don't have an account, this may make you want to have an account. The statistics are pretty good, and when you think about using these social media platforms, think about it in the sense that you're trying to get your message out. And when you get your message out to multiple amounts of people, then if just 10% of those people happen to come back to your website, it's worth it. And just remember that Twitter sometimes can come back in business. And for wineries, it's probably going to be a little more easier than a different type of business, because people go to your website and they'll check out your wines, and then they'll try to go get your wines. So I think it's a good avenue for wineries to just talk about their wines. I mean, that's what you're in the business to do, is talk about your wine. So here's some stats. There are 500 million users on Twitter who have an actual Twitter account. 250 million of those people have an active Twitter account, which means they post at least once a month. I'm not sure that really constitutes active, but anyway, 36% of those people Twitter at least once a day. So if you're tweeting once a day, that's great. And like I said, you can attach your Twitter account to your Facebook business page. So when you post something on Facebook, it posts to Twitter. So that will help you. You can also set alerts on Twitter to have it text you when someone mentions you. And then that way it prompts you to go to Twitter and carry on a conversation with those people. 66% of online adults are on one or more social media platforms, meaning that if they're on Twitter, they may be on Facebook as well. Or if they're on Facebook, they may be on Twitter or Pinterest or something else. So they're actually on more than just one. Twitter users are 41% male and 59% female, which I thought was kind of interesting, because I would have thought more men would have been on Twitter than women. And the advantage of Twitter, and I don't know if any of you have partaken in this or hosted one of these, but like a Twitter taste-off. I get to attend my very first one this weekend, and I know that lots of other bloggers and people like that, they do host these Twitter taste-offs with other different states, and everybody goes and buys this wine, and then they get onto Twitter and they use a hashtag and they talk about it. So that's one of the benefits. If you can't actually be at a tasting, but you want to do a tasting, it's a great way to get people to buy your wine and get people involved in your community of other people to do tasting. So I think if you want to kind of experience that, I can give you the hashtags of the one I'm going to be at this weekend. It's a conference, and we're actually all going to be at this conference tweeting about the wines that we're tasting. So it will be a great way for you to see how that works, and maybe you can put that into place. So that's Twitter kind of in a nutshell. If you have questions, you certainly can email me, and then we can go from there. But next up, and one of my new favorite things is this Pinterest. If you don't have Pinterest, I recommend you getting it, and I will tell you about all the benefits of that next time we talk. So until then, have a great week, and cheers.